Bitcoin seasonally was just not going to be attractive until after March ends. Bitcoin can do well to the end of the year.
Tom Lee of Fundstrat believes markets might find a bottom this week, citing improved visibility after April 2nd and easing Federal Reserve policies. While investors remain cautious about tariffs and economic growth, Lee expects reduced selling pressure and a favorable outlook for Bitcoin as the year progresses, with its seasonal trends aligning with potential market recovery. In the crypto world, significant developments include California's new digital assets bill, granting cryptocurrencies legal recognition, and the ambitious American Bitcoin mining initiative. However, security challenges persist, highlighted by a recent DeFi protocol breach, showcasing the ongoing risks in the decentralized finance space. Amid these shifts, the crypto landscape remains a blend of innovation and unpredictability. Investors are advised to stay informed, balancing optimism with caution, as markets evolve rapidly and opportunities emerge alongside inherent risk.
Tom Lee is head of research at Fundstrat and chief investment officer of Fundstrat Capital, as well as a CNBC contributor. At the time, I think you were talking about some of the people that work in your shop too, some of the technical people, and you were of the view that we were at least close to making a bottom. And off camera, we were talking. I said maybe, in terms of timing, it was about a month early, but in terms of how far the markets actually went down, you're not off by that much. I think the SP is down about 6% now. Looks like if it opens where it is right now, it'll be in correction territory again, down 10. But you have the same kind of feeling for this week that some of the underpinnings are in for a real bottom, for a tradable bottom or a real bottom.
Yeah, I mean, both. I mean, if obviously it doesn't feel this way because over the weekend futures came under pressure, but we know markets are really oversold. We know that investors have had a lot of de-risking. And this week, I think into April 2nd, investors have three things on their minds. One is they just don't know what the tariffs look like. They don't know if it's going to damage the economy. And I think third, many are just a little terrified of the policies of the White House. But post-Wednesday, I think markets are going to have some visibility, and that allows us to take some of the selling pressure off. So, I think it's possible that instead of us breaking down here and seeing markets under further pressure, we're actually got the right pieces.
Buy into this without knowing what's on the other side of it? That is the fundamental question that people are sitting around trying to figure out today and tomorrow.
That's right. It's an interminable wait for people because it is still 3 days, and they're fearful that we could have 3 days of down 2%. But I kind of agree with Larry Fink. I think the U.S. is going to come out of this okay. I mean, Brexit's an example. Brexit happened, and the UK economy emerged okay. It didn't have a huge recession, and the stock market did okay. So for investors today, over the weekend, we had so many thinking the economy is going to completely fall off the rails after Wednesday.
Well, people are starting to say slowing growth and persistent inflation. So you put those together and you get this stagflation. Yeah, that's death.
I mean, there's a lot of distortions of the economy now, right? Because we know people are buying cars and wine ahead of tariffs, and that's creating inflation.
Hopefully they're not doing it the same, cars and the wine.
Do you think it's pushing up our growth numbers that we're seeing at this point, between retail sales and other places, or is that too small to distort things on that great of a level?
I think it's possible economists are only dialing in the negative consequences so far, but not the positive, because rates are down and gasoline's down, and there could be some pull forward of demand. So we might end up having better growth, so less stag, and maybe the inflation stuff is more distorting, and so it's not as stagflationary.
Tom Lee of Fundstrat suggests that markets may stabilize this week, with key factors like easing Federal Reserve policies and improved clarity on tariffs reducing selling pressure. He highlights that Bitcoin's seasonal patterns and central bank adjustments could position it for strong performance through the remainder of the year, providing a positive outlook for investors amidst current volatility. Meanwhile, the crypto sector showcases a mix of progress and challenges. California's digital assets bill marks a step forward, officially recognizing cryptocurrencies for transactions, while the American Bitcoin initiative reflects growing interest in large-scale mining. However, security issues, like the recent DeFi protocol breach, underline the risks inherent in this evolving space. Staying informed and cautious will be crucial for navigating these dynamic markets.
Goldman did raise their inflation forecast, but then they're talking about more rate cuts.
I know, which is because of growth concerns.
Yes. And I think we'll have a glimpse of what Fed Chair Powell's thinking, because he's speaking Friday after the jobs report. And I do think that it remains a more dovish Fed than many expect. I mean, I think that's what was revealed after the March FOMC meeting. And not them saying it's going to put a reversal of markets here, but I think investors are a little too scared heading into winter.
Bitcoin's testing recent near-term lows, I guess, again. It's been under 80. It's not quite there yet. It definitely is a risk-off trade, and when the NASDAQ goes down, Bitcoin seems to go down, but it also really likes the idea of more Fed rate cuts or the Fed being more lenient. So if we get that on Friday, is this a decent time to be stacking?
I think so.
You do at 80.
Yeah, I think part of this was Bitcoin seasonally was just not going to be attractive until after March ends, and now we're finally exiting March. And so I think not only is the calendar looking better, but as you're saying, Fed and central banks are easing, QT's ending. I think that with positive Washington sort of tailwinds means I think Bitcoin can do well to the end of the year.
Right. People love it when I ask you what your year-end target is on Bitcoin, because and people very excited.
Yes, and I mean, one
crazy high again.
I think it's still 150 or higher as possible. Okay. I know it doesn't feel like it, but once we get through this tariff and that agenda around tariffs, markets can look forward to things that could be positive.
Do you agree with what Larry Fink said just about the idea that the dollar could suffer as a result?
And it would.
Bitcoin, yeah.
Yes. I mean, I'd say that Washington understands that too. That's why stablecoin really getting the right sort of legislation for stablecoin is important, because in crypto, when it comes to stablecoins, the dollar is way more dominant there than it is in traditional market.
Tom Lee, a prominent figure in finance and research, believes the market may be on the verge of stabilization. He cites factors such as oversold conditions, easing Federal Reserve policies, and seasonal trends that favor Bitcoin's recovery post-March. Lee remains optimistic about Bitcoin's potential to close the year strongly, driven by favorable regulatory developments and broader economic adjustment. He also anticipates that reduced investor fears and clarity around trade policies will further support a market rebound. On the crypto front, California's groundbreaking digital assets bill is a significant milestone, providing legal recognition for cryptocurrencies and enhancing user confidence. Meanwhile, the crypto landscape remains dynamic, as demonstrated by innovative mining ventures and ongoing security challenges in DeFi. The sector continues to blend opportunities with risks, emphasizing the importance of vigilance and informed decision-making for investors. How do you think Bitcoin's trajectory will be affected by central bank policies in the coming months? What steps can the crypto community take to address persistent security vulnerabilities in DeFi platforms? Let me know in comments.